Julia here from JM Squared Vintage. Welcome back to the channel. I am here today with a ship with me. These are all orders that came through over the weekend. A pretty decent weekend of sales, some interesting pieces, some cool vintage, some stuff that absolutely flew out of my closet. So lots and lots of stuff to talk about. But before we get started here, guys, if this is your first time here, if this is your first time stumbling on my channel, first and foremost, welcome. I am Julia. That is my name. We talk all things thrifting and vintage and the business of reselling on the internet here. If that sounds like something that you might be into, consider hitting subscribe down below. I would love to have you along on this journey. But with all that being said, guys, it is late in the afternoon. I gotta get these things packed up and off to the post office. So why don't you go grab yourself a snack, grab yourself a drink, sit back, relax, and let's get into the shipment. So the first piece we have here is this ridiculous little thing from Skims. This is a little silk gathered bralette. Just a reminder to not ignore the little tiny things that you find in the bins. This is 100% silk. It was like wedged in a corner when I found it. And this is just one of their drops that went kind of viral and sold out. I've had so much interest in this. And I mean, these are the kind of things that take up absolutely zero space in terms of storage, and they generally sell for a pretty good price. Am I getting like $70 for them? No. But most of these little bralettes from Skims, from Intimately Free People, you know, I'm generally gonna get somewhere north of $15 on them, minimum. And more than likely somewhere between like 20 and 30. And depending on the brand, you might even see significantly more than that if you find one of the really high-end lingerie brands like Agent Provocateur. All that to say, pay attention to the little things. Now this I had listed for about 4 months. Again, I had a ton of interest in it, but it was a larger size, which usually is not necessarily a problem, but when it comes to a completely like unstructured bralette, it's generally the smaller sizes that are gonna go first. I know it seems counterintuitive, but it's just the way it works with stuff like this. At least that's been my experience. Let me know if you experience the same. So I had it listed for $32, again, for about 4 months, and I got an offer for $24, which I did accept. With a $2 cost at the bins, this brought me to a profit of $19.27. And this was a sale over on eBay. Hope she loves it, because it is so, so pretty. Next up, oh, I have it on the big hanger because I was just steaming it. This is a hoodie from Pop Flex. And if you are unfamiliar with Pop Flex, this is a brand owned by a fitness influencer named Cassie Ho. I've talked about her quite a bit. She really does a good job of being very considered in her designs. And she puts out all kinds of content about, you know, like why she designed this garment in this way. It's really interesting if you're into that kind of stuff. This piece, though, is called the Cloud Hoodie. This is a hoodie that's meant to be worn kind of cropped and like blousy. So it's something that photographs terribly unless you have it on a body. It's a size extra small / extra extra small, and it was missing its drawstring. So that's not something that's gonna preclude something like this from selling though. So just in case you see something like this, like don't walk away from it just because it's like missing a drawstring or whatever. Pop Flex is in demand. It sells out a lot. So if you see something at the bins, I would grab it. If you see something and you're paying up for it, I would just run a quick comp on it, because even with the problems that this had, being a very, very small size and missing the drawstring, it was still gonna sell. I wanna say that this retailed for like $80, so. And if this was in flawless condition and more like a size medium or a size large, this probably would have pulled in like 40 bucks. And it probably would have sold real quick. But as is, I had this listed for about 3 months. Again, there were some things kind of going against it. I had it listed for $32, just kind of considering all things. And I got an offer for $25, which I did accept. This was a sale over on Depop, and with a $2 cost at the bins, this brought me to a profit of $21.27. So I hope she loves it. Again, it's like an $80 retail price hoodie, and the fit is unlike anything else that's out there on the market. Next up, we've got this stunning dress. So this is from a brand called Dress the Population. Just almost knocked over the camera there. This is 100% sequined. It weighs a ton. It's brand new with tags. Dress the Population is pretty expensive. This was probably a good $400 new, maybe even a little bit more. You see it a lot in like Rent the Runway. Their stuff is really well made if you're looking for special event dresses. And this is just so unusual. Like the different sequins here, like there are matte sequins that look kind of like marble chips. There are mini sequins, interesting color combo, but all in all, just gorgeous. I'm gonna guess So it's definitely a brand to consider paying up for pretty comfortably, as long as the size is kind of more of a general size. I want to say that this is a size XL. I have one or two dresses from Dress the Population that are like a size extra small and they're still sitting, but I think more than anything it's because they're a size extra small. But this is overall stunning. But I had this beaut listed for $120 and I had it listed for about a month and a half. I kind of anticipated this popping off as like a New Year's dress. This feels very much like a New Year's kind of gala dress. And I got an offer for $85, which I did accept. And with a $9 cost at the thrift, this brought me to a profit of $59 even, and this was a sale over on Poshmark. So I hope she loves it. I hope she feels absolutely stunning in it because that dress is gorgeous. Next up, this is one that my mom picked up about a year ago. So this is from Vineyard Vines and it's flannel and this beautiful little gingham check. Now, I think I brought this home last year during my fall trip home and I kind of anticipated this going for either Christmas or 4th of July in like a colder place. Because this feels like one of those two vibes, but it ended up selling like right after Christmas. So here we are. But Vineyard Vines is one of those brands. I'm interested, like, do you guys pick it up? I love Vineyard Vines. I love their style. I love the like old school preppiness of Vineyard Vines, and I always find their quality to be really nice. So it is something that I pick up. Is it something that I pay up for significantly? Absolutely not, with some exceptions, right? Like the Shep shirts still sell very, very well for me. But stuff like this, I will stick to the bins. I'm not gonna pay $6.99 for something like this, but $1 or $2 all day. As much as I'd love to pull every Vineyard Vines piece that I see, because I think that they're great, it does have to make sense for the business. If only I had endless time, endless budget, and endless storage space. That would be trouble. But either way, I had this listed, like I mentioned, for just over a year, and I had it listed at $28. And I got an offer for $20, which I was glad to accept. I'm happy to be moving this on. In fact, this was probably gonna be on the chopping block within the next 2 or 3 relists, just because of how long I had it. So very, very happy to be moving it on. And with a $1-ish cost at the bins, this brought me to a profit of $15 even. This was a sale over on Poshmark. So again, so happy to be moving that on, and it's in fantastic condition. So that is a happy ending for sure, for me, at least, for that shirt. Next up, this is such a cool brand, shirt, everything. So this is from Alberto Macaulay. I think I'm saying that right. Every time I've ever found something from him, it's always like wildly well made, super unique, like really interesting fabrication, really interesting silhouettes. And this is absolutely positively no different. This is a really cool like shark bite hem, open knit tank top. And the funny thing about Alberto Macaulay, which I think he was probably sold in like Saks Fifth Avenue, I think he's pretty high end. I have never been able to find any of their like stock images ever. And I've had many, many pieces from him. So I don't know if they just make very limited runs or if, you know, whatever the case may be, but I do love picking up their pieces because they're very unique, well made, and generally sell for a pretty decent price. And I'm gonna guess that you guys have had the same experience. It's definitely a brand, even if you don't know the name, you probably would pick it up because of the quality of the pieces and how interesting they are. So let me know, do you have the same experience? Like I've never found a duplicate ever. And I've never seen a duplicate, right? Like I've never seen something like this, done a Google search and been able to find another one. So my bet is on extremely limited runs, but they're always really cool and I love to pick them up. But either way, I had this one for about 8 months and I had it listed for $36. Typically on Alberto Macaulay pieces for like the smaller pieces like this, it's generally between like 30 and 35 that I get. And then on more significant pieces, it can go into the 40s and 50s. But I got an offer for $30, which I did accept. And with a $2 cost at the bins, this brought me to a profit of $24.29. And this was a sale over on eBay. So I hope she loves it. I mean, these pieces are just so unique. They feel very artsy to me. So if that is something that you're into and you're shopping for yourself, check out Alberto Macaulay because his pieces are gorgeous. Next up, oh my goodness, this is one that I've had so much interest in. This is from Free People, Intimately Free People. And it's this little chemise, super cute. It's this like blush color with orange trim and like mauve contrast cups. It's just like a really interesting piece. These little chemises from Intimately Free People sell extremely well for me. Always have and always will. And this is just one that must be in super high demand because I've had a ton of interest on it. Like at the time that this sold, I think I had 5 or 6 active offers on it on Depop. It did end up popping off also over on Depop, and it was one of those offers. Just if we're keeping track, guys, this weekend, I think my highest sales were on Depop. So again, if you are not cross-listing, you absolutely should be cross-listing. And if you are cross-listing and not cross-listing to Depop, you need to be considering Depop right about now. Anyway, I had this listed at $45 and I had it listed for about 3 weeks. Again, had a ton of interest in those 3 weeks. Got an offer for $35, which I gladly accepted. Again, I had about 5 offers, active offers on this, not counting the probably 30 or so that I had already had that had expired. And with a $2 cost at the bins, this brought me to a profit of $31.10. And again, this was a sale over on Depop, so hope she loves it. This must have been in some way included in some kind of edit or somebody famous wore it or something like that, because I don't get that kind of interest on anything unless it's one of those 2 things. All right, next up, we've got this gorgeous little piece. This is from Parsley and Sage. This is one that my mom found, and it's just so funky. It's got that kind of artsy, art to wear, login look silhouette to it. It's kind of like a trapeze silhouette with an uneven hem there, intentional uneven hem, funky little button there. And this is in like new condition. Parsley and Sage is in that kind of artsy, login look, adjacent kind of category. So for something like this, I would use login look. I think this more lends itself to like artwear and art to wear. But either way, love finding their stuff. And the funny thing is, the day after I got home from bringing this back, I went to a thrift store because I can't help myself. And I found this exact little cardigan hanging on the racks. Now, it was full price, so I didn't want to pay for it when I had one sitting at home. Kind of regretting not picking it up at this point because this sold so dang quickly. But it's just so unusual. Their stuff, just like Alberto Macaulay, is like very interesting, very different. These are statement pieces. And where Alberto Macaulay is a little bit more like muted tones, for the most part, a lot of the stuff that I found from him are like tans and browns and in that kind of color story. A lot of the things that I found from Parsley and Sage are very, very colorful. So, but definitely a brand I love picking up. Would I pay crazy dollars for it? Probably not. Like, would I have paid $9 for this at the thrift store? That's what they were asking for it. Probably not, because with what I typically get for Parsley and Sage pieces, which is typically between like 28 and 40, depending on what I've had. Some pieces maybe a little bit higher. That $9 price point is really gonna be at the top edge of what I'd be willing to spend. Typically when I'm out thrifting, like in the regular thrift store, not in the bins, my goal is to 3x my investment. So if I'm paying, you know, $9 for something, I want to be pretty dang positive that I'm getting $27 or more. And that's really like the lowest margin I want to work on. So with what I typically get for this, the risk of me not hitting that margin would be a little bit too high. Either way, I had this listed for $36. I had it listed for just 2 days and I got a $30 offer on it, which I did accept with a $1 or $2 cost on this from the East Coast bins. This brought me to a profit of $23 even, and this was a sale over on Poshmark. But I hope she loves it. It is so funky. It is in like brand new condition, and it is just so cool. It will be a conversation piece for sure. Next up, a great bread and butter piece. This is actually one of my old shirts that I just don't fit anymore, and this is from LL Bean, and this is their standard flannel relaxed fit shirt. If you are looking for a workhorse flannel shirt, please look no farther than LL Bean. My only beef with LL Bean is that a lot of times, at least in women's plaids, you know, where I'm looking for a more like traditional plaid, a lot of their plaids are very like femme, like lots of pink. And I'm not a pink girl. Like this is kind of more my style, like Stuart plaid. But this feels, you know, very classic, very Christmas. But I'm so just not into like pink and purple plaids. You know, if I'm wearing a plaid flannel shirt, I want it to look like, you know, my dad's shirt. You know what I'm saying? Even back in my grunge days in like the 90s, I would be stealing my dad's shirt. But to me, the LL Bean flannel is just some of the best out there that you can get. It's kind of heavier weight. It's not super thin. And it's the kind of thing that's super fleeced and super soft when you first get it. And you go through a few washes and it pills up a little bit. and eventually it just becomes the softest flannel that you've ever felt in your life. These things are made to last for years and years and years. So once again, if you're in the market, look no farther. This is a shirt I just didn't wear all that much. Unfortunately, it just never fit me the way. I wanted it to be a little bit more oversized, and it was always a little bit snugger than I liked it to be. So this is really just now on its like the beginning of its journey to the ultimate softness that it will get to. But these are the kind of things they retail, I want to say 60 or 70 bucks. And on the resale market, you'll pay between like 20 and 30 bucks depending. And again, they'll last you a decade of hardware. But either way, I had this listed at $32 and I had it listed for just over a year, which is interesting. Again, it's after Christmas right now. And I kind of thought that this would sell pre-Christmas because this, again, felt like a very Christmassy plaid. And it popped through as a full price sale a week after Christmas, so go figure. Of course, I own this, so there was no cost except for like the full price cost that I paid. But ultimately, I got $25.60, and this was a sale over on Poshmark. So I hope she loves it, and I hope she gets just so much more wear out of this than I did, because LL Bean flannels are the best. Next up, this is another one that my mom found. This is Bob Mackie wearable art, and man, did this sell quickly. So typically when I go home, my mom kind of keeps all of the stuff that she thrifts throughout the year in basically my childhood bedroom. And we always take a couple hours, usually in the morning on some day that I'm there, and we go through the stack of stuff that she found. And a lot of times she'll call me while she's at the bins, or she'll call me while she's at the thrift and send me pictures of the stuff that she's found, and we'll go yay or nay on the different pieces, especially if she's at the regular thrift and we're potentially paying like full price for things. But she showed me this the day that we were going through everything, and she's like, you made me get this. I'm like, it's silk and beautifully floral. This is a hydrangea print. It's beaded. It's lovely. Of course I made you get this. I just thought that the floral was so dang pretty. And one of you guys had mentioned that Bob Mackie wearable art was having a bit of a renaissance in terms of demand on the secondhand market. And it sounds like that is indeed the case. This is beaded. It's just beautiful. I just thought that floral was so pretty. I love hydrangeas. They're some of my favorite flowers. There's something that I don't see all too much out here in California, but you see a lot back east. So they always remind me of home. But either way, I had this listed for $39, and I had it listed for only 4 days. Another one that just flew out of my closet. And I'll tell you, I had a lot of interest in this. Not necessarily on Depop, not necessarily on Poshmark. I did have a lot of activity on this on Vinted. So maybe be on the lookout for some Bob Mackie wearable art pieces. I mean, I would probably focus on silk pieces, stuff like that. I know that there's some polyester in the mix there. This I just thought was beautiful, regardless of who designed it. But anyway, so I had it listed for $39. I got an offer for $30, which I gladly accepted. With a $1 or $2 or so cost at the bins back east, this brought me to a profit of $23 even, and this was a sale over on Poshmark. And I hope she absolutely loves it. I really think that that is such a beautiful, unique blouse. Next up, this is something that I will grab every time I see it. So this is a vintage men's velour long sleeve polo shirt. And I'll tell you, this was in such good connection that I had to like double check to make sure that this was indeed vintage. That's how nice this was. Not a speck on it. But these kind of shirts, these like velour leisure shirts, these things that look like they're straight out of the 70s, you know, they belong in a room with paneled walls and like orange burlap furniture. These things sell so fast for me. I don't find a ton of it. I think that there's a lot of vintage sellers and people that are sourcing for like period shows here that get their hands on stuff like this a little bit quicker than me. I see a lot of this kind of stuff at like the Rose Bowl flea market and stuff like that, which tells me that this is getting picked up by people who are looking for specifically this, but anytime I see it, I will pick it up. It's something like this is a little bit more simple, is never gonna be a huge sale, but it will be a fast sale and it will be a solid sale, so I'm always in. You know, if you have something that's a little bit more like kind of funky colors, a little bit more loud, a little bit more detailed, they can get up there in price. I mean, if you can find a legit, real deal leisure suit from the era, grab it. There are certain pockets of LA where you will, on any given night, see a guy in a legitimate 1970s leisure suit out at a bar. That's just a thing that has always happened and will always happen. You know what I'm saying? There's always a market for stuff like that. But this I had listed for about 4 days. Again, another thing that flew out of my closet, and I am not in any way, shape, or form surprised by that. And I got an offer for $25, which is about what I expected to get on this. And with a $2 cost at the bins, this brought me to a profit of $21.43. And this was a sale over on Depop. Also not surprised about that. So I hope he absolutely loves it. It is pretty dang perfect for more or less 50-year-old garments. So I'm never mad about that. Next up, this is a little basic that I had initially bought for myself. I didn't love the fit on me. This is a blue Oxford shirt from Band of Outsiders. This is a defunct brand. They don't exist anymore, but a pretty high-end menswear designer. They did, I want to say this probably from the Y2K era, just going by the fit, maybe early 2010s. That's the vibe that the fit kind of gave me, but really good quality stuff. Some of the pieces, this is obviously about as insignificant a piece as you can get your hands on, for them anyway. Some of the more significant pieces can go for a pretty penny if you can find a jacket, or some of the more ornate shirts. So keep your eyes out for it, and if you see it at the bins, grab it, and if you see it at like the regular price thrift, do a quick comp search, because it may very well be well worth the price. I mean, like, I need another blue Oxford shirt, like I need a hole in the head, but I'm always on the lookout for more. I love them. I live in them in the summer. And if anybody is interested, my very favorite one is from AYR, All Year Round, whatever it's called, which I bought at the bins for $1, and it had a big stain right like under the pocket, and I worked for like 2 weeks to get that stain out, and it is flawless and maybe one of my most worn shirts of the year. Those AYR shirts are $200 retail. They're so expensive, but I love an Oxford. But either way, I had this listed for $36, and I had it listed for about 3 weeks. And with a $3.50 cost at the thrift store, this brought me to a profit of $22.91. And this was a sale over on eBay. So I hope he loves it. Great closet staple. And again, Band of Outsiders, this was probably a good $200 shirt when it was new, maybe even a little bit more expensive. They had a lot of like details to it and a bit of a cult following. So next up, this brand is a pickup at all times, and that is Pendleton. If you ever see me leaving behind a good condition Pendleton, please slap me clear across the face. This is a merino wool turtleneck. It's a size medium petite, and I kind of thought that the petite size would slow it down a little bit, but it did not. It's beautiful, like teal, kind of peacocky blue color, and again, 100% merino wool, so this is gonna provide a lot of warmth for the weight. Classic turtleneck silhouette too. But Pendleton is just a brand that I'm gonna pick up anytime I see it, in the bins, in the thrift, whatever. It's just such a solid seller. It's true American heritage, really good quality stuff. Their men's stuff does sell slightly better than the women's, but this did not sell poorly at all. And obviously, since I will sing their praises anytime that I can, if you are looking for an heirloom like housewarming gift for somebody, a Pendleton blanket, you cannot go wrong with that. I'm now up to 3, and I'm not ashamed to say that. I bought one at the factory store in Portland. I was gifted one by a friend, and I thrifted my 3rd. I am a blanket hoarder, and I am not embarrassed to say that. They are not cheap, but they will last for generations. And honestly, their clothing, their men's like button-down shirts and stuff are built to last just as long. Like, just make sure that when you store them for the season, or if you're storing them no matter what, like put them in there with cedar blocks. I've got a set link down in the description box, in every video, but it's got all different kinds of cedar blocks in like one kit. You have like little rings that you can put on a hanger. You've got little like hangable blocks. You've got little balls that you can put in drawers, and it's like 15 bucks. Either way, like if you are somebody who likes wool or silk, natural fibers, and you live in a place that's prone to moth activity, I'm looking at you Californians. We don't have hard freezes, so that's a real thing here. Please invest in a little bit of cedar if you are not fortunate enough to have like a cedar chest or a cedar closet. It's money well spent. And there are like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of options on Amazon. Usually you can find them like at the supermarket as well, usually kind of near like the laundry detergent and stuff. But either way, I had this listed for about 3 weeks, and I had it listed at $46, got an offer for $43, which I gladly accepted, with a $3.50 cost at the thrift store. This brought me to a profit of $33.06, and this was a sale over on eBay, so I hope she absolutely loves it. Gorgeous, like elevated staple there. And finally, it's gay cardinal season, y'all. I talked about this on one of my recent videos. I found this. This is 100% a product of being chronically online. Literally, my job is online. But this is a meme that kind of went around where people were laughing because all of this like Christmas decor had a bunch of red cardinals, which if you don't know, only male cardinals are red. Typically, when you see like a little snow globe with two cute little canoodling red cardinals, that's a gay couple. That's two male cardinals. So gay cardinal season has been a bit of a meme this year. So I used it in the keywords for this, and kind of no surprise to me, it sold incredibly quickly. So if you have any kind of vintage Christmas sweaters with two red cardinals on it, make sure you are adding gay cardinal season into the keywords. And honestly, this sold after Christmas. I found this like right before Christmas, and I got it listed as soon as I could, thinking that it might pop off for somebody to wear like at Christmas, and it ended up selling after Christmas. So go figure. These kind of vintage, whimsical, like novelty sweaters always sell so much faster than I anticipate them selling. The amount of like Halloween ones that I've sold right after Halloween, Christmas ones that have sold right after Christmas is pretty crazy to me. But I do love those whimsical sweaters, and gay cardinal season or not, these are typically the kind of things that I do love to pick up because I know that there's a market for it. They're not gonna be pulling in crazy numbers. Typically I see between like $20 and $30 on these things, usually around that like $25 mark, more like $20 if it's a vest. But if I'm seeing it at the bins, I'm gonna grab it because people want them. But finally, being chronically online paid off. But either way, I had this listed for $34 and I had it listed for just under 2 weeks, and I got an offer for $29, which I gladly accepted. With a $2 cost at the bins, this brought me to a profit of $22.02. And this was a sale over on eBay. I hope she absolutely loves it because it is ridiculous and adorable. But that is it, guys. That is the shipment for today. Thank you so much for hanging with me while I literally get my work done. It's always so nice to have a coworker out there to yak with. But as I mentioned, it is getting late, so I gotta get these things packed up and into the car. I think I've got about 20 minutes before the post office closes. So guys, if you had fun, please consider leaving a like or a comment on this video. Of course, don't forget to hit subscribe. I would love to have you along on this journey. All of that helps me out so much with YouTube. But without further ado, guys, I hope you all have the most beautiful weekend. Happy hunting, and I will see you all in the next one.